Mr. Mike Arado?
I'm stepping in for I'm Mike Arado's partner with Captain Permit, so I own half the company. So I'm here today to represent Brian McCready.
And you are Ryan Griffin?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, we're gonna read this all into the record and then we'll give you the platform.
Could we see?
What's that?
Could we see?
Oh, yeah, Ryan, it'd be great if we can actually see you as well.
Oh,
So,
I'm sorry.
no
Forgot.
problem. Good morning.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Okay, here we go, on the record. Good morning. This is the September 14th, 2023 meeting of the Southern Region Board of Review. This hearing is being held via video, WebEx video conference at the Perry B. Duryea Jr. State Office Building, 250 Veterans Memorial Highway, rooms 2 and 3, Hauppauge, New York, 11788. The time is now 9:30. This hearing is officially open. The members of the board are Erica Schaub, Richard Bavone, Palin Nee, and myself, Robert Peterson, Chairman. From the Department of State is Mr. Courtney Nation, and I'm sorry, I don't have CJ's last name. Majoto, did I pronounce that properly? Okay. We will now hear the scheduled petitions. When you speak, please address the board and give your name, title, and legal address so that our court reporter can have all the information requested. We may have to stop from time to time to consult with our technical staff. In making comments to the board, please provide a descriptive narrative on matters referring to your exhibits to enable the court reporter to enter these into the record. First hearing is in the matter of petition number 2023-0116. The petitioner is Mike Arado, Captain Permit, for Brian McCready. This petition pertains to variance for an existing detached dwelling, construction type 5B, 1 story in height, approximately 2,650 square feet in gross floor area, located at 19 Debbie Lane, Bohemia, Town of Islip, County of Suffolk, State of New York. Petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section AJ 601.3, Exception 1, which states, space created in basements may have a ceiling that projects to within 6 feet 8 inches of the finished floor, and beams, girders, and ducts in such space or other obstructions may project to within 6 feet 4 inches of the finished floor. Existing finished ceiling heights in spaces and basements shall not be reduced. And, excuse me, 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section R311.7.2, which states the headroom and stairways shall not be less than 6 feet 8 inches measured vertically from the slope line adjoining the tread nosing or from the floor surface of the landing or platform on that portion of the stairway. The petitioner is seeking a variance to allow ceiling heights in the basement and the headroom at the existing basement stairway that are less than allowed. Okay. Okay, Ryan.
Hey, my name is Ryan Griffin. I'm representing Brian McCready. I'm stepping in for Mike Arado. I'm his partner in owning Captain Permits. So my address is 245 Route 109, Suite D, and it's in West Babylon, New York, 11793. 11704, sorry.
Okay, please tell us about the application, please.
Okay, yes, so we had submitted application for some interior alterations. I believe there was a interior alterations, there was a rear 1-story addition, and along with that, there was a finished basement submitted to the town of Islip. The plans were approved and building had gotten started, but upon a field inspection, I believe it was November 2nd, they noticed that the girder height in the finished basement was too low. It was at 6'2". So there was a field error made, and on the plans it showed 6'4", but really it was 6'2". So we're just asking for that 2 inches for the 2 girders that are the girders that obstructed the code violation, and then also the staircase going down didn't have the proper headroom. Those stairs were original to the dwelling and were always at that headroom, so no relief or no alteration can kind of be made because they are just original. Those are the stairs that went down into the basement. I believe that there was some talks of, this house or this layout maybe potentially being some part of a two-family and looking like a family, but that was never Brian's intention. His intention was just to have a finished rec space, and that was it. And that was a part of the approved plans with the town of Islip that were approved. So he was, just going along with what he had approved.
Okay, what's the status of the construction today?
So most of the interior alterations were made and the additions were done. The town of Islip allowed him to keep going. But as far as the basement, it had stopped as soon as the partition walls were up, so that they have just partitions and there's no finishes on the walls as of now.
So the exhibit A and B that was submitted with the application, construction is further along in the basement? Or is it still open and raw, like unfinished, like these photos?
It's
We had
open and raw.
updated
Excuse me, one person at a time. Who's the other person speaking?
That's the
I'm the
one.
homeowner. Sorry, Ryan, you can go. My apologies.
No, you could speak on that behalf. I remember there was an updated photo sent, but if it's in some spots, you're saying that it was raw. Sorry.
Since the day that they allowed us to go through with construction until November 2nd of last year, as soon as we heard about anything regarding a state variance, everything ceased moving forward and is still exactly the way it was left a year ago. And all pictures supplied to the state are exactly how the premise looks as we speak.
Okay, so what's the finishes that are going to be applied to the floors and ceilings in the basement? Because these photos show that it's a 6'2" to the bottom of the beam, but it's an unfinished beam and it's a concrete floor. So would the application be for the 6'2" relief, or would it be less if you're wrapping finished materials around the beam and applying a finished floor to the floor? So we'd like to have an understanding of what that actual projection would be when it's all said and done. Do we have an idea of what that finish is?
Brian, you were planning on putting what type of flooring of some, right?
Well, I mean, in terms of specifics, I don't have any background in this. We're using the same floor that was used in the rest of the house and just basic bare walls. And, it's going to be basically an empty space with just furniture in it. That's it.
They were asking as far as the finishing on the floor, as far as you're using wood or vinyl, or you're gonna plan on putting tile for the flooring.
It's a vinyl composite, no tile, nothing like that.
Okay. And then, yeah, you planned on wrapping the girders with 1/2-inch sheetrock around the girders just to finish them and cap them, not leaving them exposed, right?
Correct. Yeah. And whatever was on the plans, I mean, those decisions weren't made by me.
Yes.
So would it be safe to say it would be in the 6-foot range finished, or 6.5 inch, 6'1"?
Yeah, probably 6'1" if a 1/2 inch is for the sheetrock, and then the thin laminate flooring, it's usually like an 1/8 inch, but there's some type of vapor barrier or something put down, so you can extra add a 1/2 inch for that too. So that'd probably be an extra inch added. 6'1" is my best guess.
Okay, and then at the stair, what's the headroom at the stair?
The picture that we submitted, I believe it was at little 6'3", right? 6'3" to the last bottom tread to the headroom.
Brian, this is Courtney from the Department of State. The last submission that you gave of the stair profile, the board does not. Is there a way for you to share the screen and display what you sent a couple of days ago to the state with that profile?
I have the stair section. How do I share my screen?
There is if you look at the top of your browser, there's File, Edit, Share.
Yes,
Go to Share
okay.
and just follow those instructions.
Share content,
Yes. You have to have the share profile up front.
okay, not a problem. Is able to see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet, no.
How about now?
No, but let me see if there's something I can do to get it out to me.
Yeah, Exhibit B doesn't have a dimension at the
Okay.
stair. Did your drawings call out for a head height at the stair?
I remember upon inspection, I thought I was told that that wasn't gonna be one of the issues only because it was original to the dwelling and it wasn't a proposed, it wasn't proposed, it was just how the house originally was. So I don't know if it was in the drawings itself, but I know the girder heights were.
Well, the headroom request is on the application for variance today. That's why I asked the question.
Okay.
Courtney, are they contesting the applicability of that section of the code?
The code, if the existing finishes, they could have had a variance for an existing stair, even though you're altering a basement, can remain with an insufficient headroom.
Mhm.
If you go and put a de minimis amount of finish above it,
Mhm.
then that would conceivably trigger the code. So if that is the case here, then, it's a minimal
Okay.
departure from the code by then putting in a finish.
Do you have plans to finish the stair going to the rec room in the basement? Are you going to keep it raw concrete?
No, that is not the plan to keep it raw concrete. We actually haven't even gotten that far because everything stopped.
Okay. So do we know what the headroom is?
It was 6 foot, it was 6'3" as far as the picture was concerned.
Okay, so we'll put that on the record at 6'3".
Yeah.
Okay, I think the application on the grounds of excessive and unreasonable economic burden. Can you give us some information on the cost of the project? So we can get an idea of the economic availability to do any mitigation work in the basement?
How much,
Typically what we do. is
how
to
much
do
the basement cost?
No, the construction project that you pulled this permit for. So where I'm going is the basement is unfinished. There appears to me, and I can't speak for the other members of the board, appears to me that you could potentially fix these violations. I just need to know how much that would cost. If, let's say, we talked about raising the beam 2 inches or it looks like 3 inches now. And
Well, there is,
the time to do it would be now because you're undertaking a construction project. So unless there's some economics there that you could present to us, an argument of your application.
well, I guess our argument was that the beams were existing to the dwelling, and so that altering the beams, you can't really lift them up 3 inches or 2 inches. They're at where they're at because they hold the floor joists. And any alteration would have to, incur all new girder height, all new girders to be installed for the basement.
Yeah, so you have two girders at the center of the basement. So let's say, and I don't know because you didn't tell me, but let's say you're spending $100,000 to renovate the house. How much would it cost to put two steel beams in at a code compliant height and and have code compliance to finish your basement? So
Right.
now's your opportunity to do that. So if you're claiming an economic burden, we just need to know what those numbers are
Okay.
and weighing whether or not we grant you a variance or not.
I
So
understand.
if you don't mind, if you could just, if you have those numbers, or if you, Mr. McCready, if you have an idea what those numbers are?
So I don't know the numbers because I don't know what needs to be done because as I said, I was just a homeowner that was under the impression all of this was approved by the town of Islip. And then last November, everything stopped. I mean, we're already over $400,000 into the house itself in renovation. So we got to the basement, everything stopped, and now I don't know in terms of girders about how that affects the floors to the rest of the house. So, I mean, I can't think it would be cheap. But again, I don't know what actual work needs to be done because I was kind of caught off guard on what variance was needed in the first place.
I understand. So there was no dialogue with your contractor about what it would cost to solve this problem, mitigate it, and move forward?
That is correct. No, because the contractor is a bit confused as well as to what needs to be done. I'm
Right, so you
sure I
have-
could get that quickly.
Okay, so you have an unfinished basement, where they call it a cellar, which is sort of like an unfinished storage. You put an addition on the back, and now you want to create a nice playroom for your kids and all that, which is perfectly fine, but there's codes you need to comply with. And the code is 6'8" ceiling height for habitable space and 6'4" to beam projections. You're close, but you're not there. So the town denied it, and you chose to come here rather than fix it and make it 6'4".
That's not how it was portrayed to us by the town of Islip. The town of Islip said we were not allowed and we had to go get a state variance. So everything is stopped. We were
Well, if you
told by the
comply-
town of Islip to do this.
Oh, okay. Well, if you complied to the code, you would not be in front of us today. So that would be the 6'4" at the beam projections and 6'8" at the stair.
Right. No, that's understandable. I'm just a little bit confused on where we chose to do this. We would have, if the town had told us we could do something, we would have definitely looked into options. We were just told you have to put in an application with the state, and we've been waiting since March for the agenda, and here we are today. So that's just what threw me. I wasn't sure what you meant by that.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, the application for which you were granted an approval, Mr. McCready, is an application that showed code compliance. In other words, it showed that your basement had the code compliant ceiling height. And that's the problem. I didn't say that was your fault, but certainly it's the fault of whoever measured that and represented to the town that they had a code compliant construction that was made in the basement. And that was what occasioned your delay. The town would not have approved the plans had they noticed that there was a violation of the headroom in the basement.
If I can step in for 1 second. If you guys are looking for a price on what it would cost to alleviate this, I don't know off the top of my head. I can probably get some numbers if the board needs to. For me, I don't want to accurately quote or misquote how much this would cost, but I assume that 3 steel girders and then adjusting all the columns would cost a pretty decent amount. I just don't know those numbers off the top of my head, but if you guys need those numbers for us to provide you guys with an economic burden price, we can certainly do that. I just don't know it right now.
I can't speak for the other members of the board. I'm not sure if we want to punish Mr. McCready further and go another month and
Yeah,
adjourn the meeting. So that's why we're having this conversation. If there is, I mean,
I
we're off,
believe for the contractor to go there and then order the steel beams and all that, it'd probably be up to, 30, an extra 30 grand, something like that, 20, 30 grand.
no, I don't think so. No, I mean, if I were to weigh in, because you got 2 columns on each beam. You could probably eliminate a column on each beam and do a single column with a piece of steel, or maybe span and give him more space in the basement. But my opinion as an architect, and I could be wrong, I'll be conservative.
Yeah,
I would say it's probably 4,000 a beam, 4 to 5. If you want to upset it to get more ceiling height, so let's say 5,000 a beam.
there's
You got to
three.
do a little footing. So if there was that dialogue with the contractor and said, all right, what do we need to do to comply with the code so we don't have to slow the project down? It could have been maybe a $10,000 upcharge. Maybe if it's a really good contractor, he might charge you 12, 15, take advantage of you. I don't know. But definitely not 30, 40.
Okay, sorry, yeah, like, I didn't want to misquote.
Yeah. So when we look at this, we look at you're spending 400,000, you're into it. There could have been a $10,000 mitigation. Is that an economic hardship? I don't know. So does anybody else on the board want to talk about this? How they feel about it? Or, 2 inches, or it's actually 3 inches, right? It would be dropped down to 6'1". In the past, we've granted those variances with conditions, contrasting color on the beam. So someone could identify the drop beam so they don't hit their head. Sometimes we ask for the boiler room to be enclosed in fire-rated construction. Coordinate flush ceiling lights with the ceiling, we sometimes ask for those.
Yes.
So we could conceivably deliberate that and come back with a decision. Or if you want to tell us you'll fix it,
Yeah, no, we would appreciate, I've had matters in the past where those options were available to us, and, making the girder visible for any potential, fire hazard or anything, making it very visible. We're definitely willing to do something like that to alleviate the problem.
okay, so I'm looking at the plan now. I don't see any smoke detectors. Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Yeah. You can,
It's right above where it says finished cellar rec room. It says SCM.
CM.
So I have a question, just for clarity, and I'm looking at the existing condition plans. The stairs, the way they exist today, without the renovation, they are inside the house, correct? They're not egressing directly outside.
No, that's not, yeah, they're interior stairs.
Where would the door be on the HVAC or the mechanical equipment room that's required for the space that you're creating, the finished area, or the fire protection between the 2 spaces?
Sorry, you broke up in the very front, the very beginning of that. Repeat it one more time.
Finished space in the basement that you're trying to create.
Yes.
I don't see any fire rated door between spaces or any ventilation from outside to create the difference between the one space to the other for potential life safety if you're going to create this open area space.
You're talking about the boiler
Boiler
room
room.
in the back?
Yeah.
So that's part of that 1-story addition. You're proposing an egress window?
Yes.
Okay, that's part of the finished basement requirement.
Right.
Yes.
So Mr. Bavone is asking about enclosing the boiler room area. So you're going under this 3 2x10 beam
Mhm.
through the concrete wall, which was the exterior wall at one time,
Yes.
into the new addition basement. So are you asking, Rich, about the enclosure of the boiler room?
Well, if you're going to create this space, is it required to have some different rating between that boiler room and that?
It's not
Space.
required by code, but we usually ask for it
Right.
as part of a condition of a variance.
Okay.
So, and I think they said they were amenable to that. As part of a variance condition, we would fire rated construction around the boiler room.
And is the other window on the opposite side, is that being considered a means of egress?
It wasn't only because it was the front, and that was the front part, that egress was supposed to be the rear yard.
So we have this
Okay, got it.
primary, and we have this as the secondary means of egress. So I think you were asking me about
This
this.
back door over there and create some type of a space to close this,
Yeah,
make it more fire safe.
the opening next to the powder room, does that have the same projection concern? Is that going to be at the 6'1" as well, or is that up higher?
Um,
There's like a 4-foot opening that goes through the concrete wall for the new addition.
yeah, I believe that's, it's probably gonna be the same, because, yeah.
So you'd be seeking relief for 4 projections, the one down on the south of the sheet. That
Yes.
doesn't seem to impact anything. Unless that was an egress window, I would
Right,
say.
that's why I asked that question. just to
Yeah.
Make sure.
Okay, so we're looking at the 6'1" once it's finished. Not opposed to any contrasting paint. What type of lights you're gonna put in the basement? Are you gonna have flush recessed hi-hats like you have in the background in your house, or you're gonna have it on the surface?
Yes,
Okay. I don't think that's an issue. It's a standard question we ask, but you don't have a variance requirement for the ceiling height, so that shouldn't be an issue. Any other questions by the board? Or do you touch on something else, or, okay. All right, we're gonna go talk this out. We'll be back as quick as possible.
thank you, gentlemen.
We'll be back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, with respect to the petition number 2023-0116, Brian McCready, the petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section AJ 601.3, Exception 1, and 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section R311.7.2. The board makes the following findings. Number 1, the dwelling that is subject to this determination, as per the revised drawings dated 1/10/23, show a utility room, a toilet room, a laundry alcove, and a large room for recreation in the basement. I did not mention that. Correct. 2, there will be no sleeping or cooking in the basement as noted on the drawings. Number 3, the finished ceiling height throughout the basement will satisfy the 6'8" allowances in AJ 601.3 of the 2020 Residential Code of New York State. Number 4, structural girders will project below the proposed finished ceiling plane of the basement. These basement projections will have a minimum finished headroom of approximately 6'1". Number 5, a 6'1" headroom is above the average height of an adult male according to anthropometric data published in the NFPA Life Safety Code. Number 6, painting the projections in a color that contrasts to that of the ceiling will call attention to the obstruction, alert persons to avoid the low headroom condition. Number 7, the primary means of egress in this layout would be from the basement up an interior set of stairs to an exit door without having to pass through habitable rooms on the upper floor. An opening for emergency use will also be located in the basement to supply a second means of egress. Number 8, the stairway to the basement will have a minimum headroom of approximately 6 feet 2 inches at a location above the lowest tread. Number 9, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section AJ 601.3, exceptions 2 through 5, allow existing unaltered standard stairways to be maintained. Any substandard stairways to be maintained. Any alterations to reduce the original headroom of the existing stairway would be a result of finishes and would be minimal. Number 10, installing electrically wired smoke alarms within the basement connected to similar devices located on the main floor or the main level of the building would, if properly maintained, provide warning to persons using the basement in advance of a smoke-related emergency. And number 11, a carbon monoxide detector is required at this level due to the presence of a boiler in the basement. So with respect to 19 NYCRR Part 1220, Section AJ 601.3, and 19 NYCRR Part 1220, Section R311.7.2, the board finds strict compliance with the provisions to Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code would entail practical difficulties or unnecessary hardship and would be unnecessary in the light of alternatives which ensure the achievement of the code's intended objective, or in light of alternatives which without a loss in level of safety achieve the code's intended objective more efficiently, effectively, or economically. And the granting of this variance will not substantially adversely affect the Uniform Code's provisions or health, safety, and security. Wherefore, it is determined in the application for variance from the provisions of 19 NYCRR Part 1220, Section AJ 601.3, 19 NYCRR Part 1220, Section R311.7.2, be and is hereby proposed to be granted with the following conditions. Condition 1, that electrically wired smoke alarms shall be installed and maintained throughout the basement in accordance with Section R314 of the 2020 Residential Code of New York State and connected to similar devices located throughout the main level of the building. Number 2, that the basement shall have a code-compliant emergency escape and rescue opening. Number 3, that the basement shall not be used for cooking and sleeping. This shall be stated on the certificate of occupancy that is issued by the authority having jurisdiction in this matter. Number 4, that all basement projections lower than 6 feet 4 inches shall be marked or treated with contrasting color to highlight the low headroom condition. Number 5, that the minimum basement stairway headroom shall be 6 foot 2 inches at the location noted in these findings. Number 6, that the new basement boiler room and oil tank shall be enclosed in 1 hour fire-rated construction with self-closing code-compliant opening protectives with suitable dampers if needed for mechanical combustion air. Number 7, that the basement and its stairway shall conform to all other applicable requirements of the Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code, including but not limited to the requirements for carbon monoxide detection and handrails. I need a motion to approve with these conditions.
Waiting, I move.
May I get a second?
Erica second.
Erica second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. Furthermore, it should be noted that the decision of this board is limited to a specific building and application before it as contained within this petition. It should not be interpreted to give implied approval or any general plans or specifications presented in support of this application. Okay, we approve with those conditions. You guys have any questions? Are we clear?
Yes, we're clear. Thank you very much, guys.
Okay.
I want to
Thank you.
thank you, everybody on the board. Appreciate your help with this matter and clarifying.
You're welcome. Good luck with your project.
Thank you very much.
Have a
Okay.
good day.
You too. Okay, 0176, who's here today on that matter? We have David Narain and Mark Anthony.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry about that. I don't know the number. I apologize.
Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic, gentlemen. Yourselves?
We're good.
Great.
All right. Let's get into some business and then we'll give you the mic.
All right.
All right. We're still on the record, right? Okay. This second hearing is in a matter of petition number 2023-0176. The petitioner is Mark Anthony Ministeri, architect for David Narain. This petition pertains to a detached one-family dwelling. The dwelling is 2 stories of wood frame type 5B construction, approximately 4,100 square feet in total gross floor area, not including existing basement space. The dwelling is located at 2768 Lindenmere Drive, Merrick, Town of Hempstead, County of Nassau, State of New York. Petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Exception 1 of Section AJ 601.3, which requires that space created in basements may have a ceiling that projects to within 6 feet 8 inches of the finished floor, and beams, girders, and ducts in such space or other obstructions may project to within 6 feet 4 inches of the finished floor. Existing finished ceiling heights in basements, spaces in basements shall be, existing finished ceiling heights in spaces in basements shall not be reduced. The petitioner wishes to maintain a basement floor that has a ceiling height that is less than allowed. In order to obtain the relief requested above, the application must also obtain relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1220, the 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section R322.2.1, titled Elevation Requirements, which for flood hazard areas not subject to high velocity wave action requires in part that 1, buildings and structures in flood hazard areas, including flood hazard areas designated as coastal A zones, shall have the lowest floors elevated to or above the base flood elevation plus 2 feet, or the design flood elevation determined in accordance with sections R322.1.4 through R322.1.4.1, whichever is higher. Number 2, in areas of shallow flooding, AO zones, buildings and structures shall have the lowest floor, including the basement, elevated to a height above the highest adjacent grade of not less than the depth number specified in feet on the firm plus 1 foot, or not less than 3 feet if a depth number is not specified. That's a mouthful. Number 3, basement floors that are below grade on all sides shall be elevated to or above base flood elevation plus 2 feet, or the design flood elevation determined in accordance with sections R322.1.4 through R322.1.4.1, whichever is higher. The petitioner wishes to have a lowest floor that is below the requisite base flood elevation and the design flood elevation. Okay, Mark, tell us what's going on.
Okay, just to give you a briefing of this, this is also Don Amon from my office who's sitting next to me, who knows the project pretty intimately as well. So to give you some background, I designed this house basically on the existing foundation back in 2003, before a lot of those codes had kind of kicked in or anyone was paying attention to them at the time. So it was approved and permitted. My client only purchased this house. How long did we say that? Yeah, I think in 2020 or 2021, everything that's in the basement was there. They don't actually really use the basement. They use it for storage and some a little bit at the landing area down below. The clients that I had originally designed the house for made some additional changes to the house. Not what necessarily was on the approved plans. Not until 2020 that will come up because my client wants to make sure everything is legal and safe and according to code as best it could possibly be. We do obviously, as you said, have several areas that are a little too low. Most of it is ductwork and some beams that run through. We do have an approved basement plan. We've removed pretty much all the walls on what I'm going to call the north side of the space, which is the right-hand side from the front door. That's all been removed. That's the general aspect of it.
You had mentioned, did I hear you correctly? You said you designed the original house in 2003?
Yes, sir.
What was the basement designed for at that time?
It was unfinished at that time.
And it was
Oh.
approved and it got a CO?
Well, they never wound up getting a CO. So that's where we kind of came in to try and close up the permit for them. And obviously we had to file whatever changes that they made additional to the project itself and never having to close it out.
Okay. So
So
fast
what,
forward to today, the current owner moves in and we started to finish the basement, or what's the status of
No.
it today?
the basement was finished. They had an open permit, and as part of the closing deal was to close up the existing open permit, which you're talking about, the C of O for the house. We went to do a verification. There were quite a few things that additionally had changed, such as these basement finishes, a few things up on the upper floors, also some wall moves, and nothing drastic up there. This was probably the major of it. Additionally, a pool, a shed, right? Was a shed and covered kitchen. A covered kitchen in the backyard. There was a bunch of different things that were done through since 2003-4.
Okay, I apologize. I didn't really delve into this, so I might have some silly questions, but.
Right.
So when was this picked up? When was it picked up that you needed to come to this board?
In 2021. That's when we were basically hired by the new owner, our client, who is the applicant on this. When we went in, that's when we started to find out all the stuff that was going to be required for this.
And the prior owner is the one who finished the basement?
The previous client is the one that finished it. Not my current client.
Yeah, that's, I just want to make
Yes,
that clear.
Yes.
Okay, and what's the intent of the use of the basement?
Well, most of it is storage in the back far right-hand corner. And well, to tell you the truth, it's mostly storage.
Any photos you got? Anything you can show us?
Yeah, I might.
Is it really like sexy or is it just basic?
No, there's some finished space down there. I could show you at the base of the stair. Let me open this up and share my screen. Is that okay?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, this is a space, right? This is it? All right. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Okay, let me share my screen. Oop. Okay.
Well, he's looking, the drawings show elevation 4.
Yes,
Is that correct? Because I think the application had an elevation certificate or,
yes. Remember, this was a 2003 project. So where it's in an AE6, but the basement, the lower level is all elevation 4. But I could also tell you, actually, my client was here earlier. He's never had any water in the basement since he's owned it since 2020. And again, I had been in contact somewhat with the previous owner / previous client who never had any water in the basement. But are you seeing my screen?
yeah, I mean, Mark, the big barometer is 2012, right? So do
Yes,
we know
sir.
what happened then?
Say that last word again.
Do we know what happened back at Sandy, the storm?
As far as I know, this was not hit, but I honestly, I wasn't there for it, so I don't know.
Okay.
But this is,
I just want to clarify for the record, because the application we have is a 4'8" basement slab, but your drawings show 4 feet. So I just want to make sure, what's the correct elevation?
I would go with the elevation certificate.
The elevation certificate of
Yeah.
4.8, okay.
okay. Changed overs, okay.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yep, I'm gonna roll through these. You tell me if you want me to stop, slow down, or this is the far left-hand corner of the building. On the boring side.
All right, I think we have some conflicts with the dimension, like you have 6'2" in the mechanical room. I think the elevation certificate had 5'2". Because that could be a concern. Well, it is a concern.
Steph, I mean, if we look at this room, you could see,
Yeah, that's all below.
yeah, it's elevation. That's height. So you're talking height or are you talking elevation?
The actual elevation.
Elevation. That's 4, you're messing with 4.8.
Yeah, the slab elevation.
Okay. I'm gonna grab the elevation certificate as well, just to kind of,
So when you say height, the height is actually the ceiling height.
yes,
And the
that's correct.
elevation is 4. Yeah, I'm a little confused.
The elevation down there is pretty much all the same.
So what's the elevation certificate say for the mechanic?
I'm grabbing it right now. I apologize.
Thank you.
I'm gonna continue rolling though through these. Is that okay?
Can you go back to the photo with the, it's Erica. Can you go back to the photo with the electrical panel? Yeah, that one. Is there something that shows how far the electrical panel and stuff is from the?
Let me try and get a better picture of it.
Yeah, the
So
elevation-
based on that chair that's there and this open door, I would say it's probably 3 feet above the floor.
And that open door goes to the electrical panel, right? That's
This
what I'm
is the
looking at?
electrical panel, yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank
Let
you.
me just see if there's a better picture kind of turned at that. So you can see. Yeah, so again, with the chair, I'm gonna say it's probably about 3 feet above.
All right, cool. Thank you.
No, you got it. Again, I'll bore you with some more pictures, but you tell me to stop, slow down, or what have you.
Did the town issue an OEM report?
Did they? I don't believe so. Yeah.
After
so far.
Sandy.
Okay, so I apologize that we have it. This is top of bottom floor interested. So the elevation certificate does say 4.8. Top of the next highest floor, and then the garage is ultimately the next. Yes.
All right, slow down a second, Mark. So Mr. Vivone had asked about, I guess, post Sandy, Office of Emergency Management goes around, they did the inspections.
Yeah.
What would trigger that?
After Sandy, the town went around to every house in a flood zone and issued an OEM report, and it would either be green, yellow, or red. Regardless of whether it sustained damage or not, they issued that report, and including the fact of how much insurance monies were issued, even if it's a prior owner, for any repairs. Did this house sustain any real water damage?
Okay, so since it's his client is not privy to that information,
Well, the town,
the town would have that report.
Mark,
about-
was a Sandy repair permit issued?
We're pulling everything right now. Give me 1 second, because I'm gonna look
Sure.
on the
That's
search that
important.
we have. So this is the bottom of the stair also. Where that stair comes down.
Finally loaded.
That's nice.
Got it.
Got it.
That's the house.
5'2" is the mechanical room. 5.2, I should say, and 4.8 in the basement.
So it came up as a red.
Okay. Did anybody file a Sandy repair permit?
Not that we could tell. So again, I'm going to give you a little bit more background to this house. So our previous clients who we originally designed the house for frequently had some issues with the law. So they spent time in and out of jails. They separated. Will you let it in, please? In and out of jail. I know this sounds kind of weird, but they were in and out of jail. They separated. They had an issue about who was taking the house. Sometimes the house was empty for a year or two. Sometimes she would come back and move in and be there, and then she would disappear for another couple of years and things like that. So it very well may be, and I don't know, that she may have not been in Merrick at the time of when Sandy hit. So I don't know what the access, when they were walking around after Sandy, if they had to get in houses or what have you at the time to find out, but it did come up as red.
Was the bathroom in that level part of the 2003 permit? Or is that something that the previous owner built without the benefit of a permit?
So it was. So what is it now? Really approved 13 foot 7.5 bathroom. No, that was originally approved with the
Okay.
bathroom in it. There was a change to it though, wasn't it? Yeah, so the size slightly changed. Right, so it was originally approved with a tub, it was changed to a shower, and then dimensionally, it was also changed. It's made much smaller.
It's a tough one.
Did the plan examiner note going to the Board of Appeals for flood elevation?
I think they go to the Board of Zoning Appeals. It will be. Yeah, after this, it will be.
Okay.
But not for, Mr. Pavone, not for elevation, as far as I could tell, for setbacks and things like that. Again, not that we've been notified on that. Let's see what we got.
Understood.
Yeah, we got a slight lot coverage issue. Right. When at the time when this was done in 2003, there was a 30% lot coverage permission. So we met that, but it's been since changed in 2007 to 25%. So now they have to go back to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
So Mark, what are the uses of all the spaces? I'm having a hard time. It's like you got finished storage, and there's a big space at the bottom of the stair that's not called out. Then to the left of that, there's another room that we don't know what it is. Then there's a bathroom. Then there's another room, we don't know what it is, and then the mechanical.
So
So,
the back
and, I'm sorry, and to piggyback that, is the whole basement finished?
no,
Like ceiling? No.
no. So on the south side or the left side of the building, the front space and the rear space, which is the mechanical rooms, are both unfinished. Then there's a space in between the, let's just call it the bathroom and the mechanical room, which is partially finished, open all around. Then at the base of the stair, they have it like, I'm gonna call it like a junk room. And then the right-hand side, which is they had as, I believe my previous clients had as keeping a live-in down there, is been opened up into the entire space. Yeah, you should have it as Exhibit 3, and it's all one large space now. There's no compartmentalization anymore. So what they're calling it is all storage.
So, Mr. Courtney, what by code are they permitted to have? Like it, just like unfinished storage? Is that the only thing?
No. By code, they're permitted to have what's CO. In this case, there's no COO. I'm not sure if it's for the building or just for the basement.
And that's actually correct. So we have permits on it, but no C of O.
For the building or just the basement?
Well, theoretically, we don't have a C of O on the building, correct?
Oh, you say for the finished basement or it's quasi-finished basement? That a separate permit that required a CO from the house, or was that all part of one
The
omnibus?
finished basement is a separate application with the building department. It's been applied for, permitted, inspected, and received a certificate of completion.
Do you have a copy of the plans that were approved by the town?
Yes, that's submitted under exhibit number 3.
And did the plan examiner indicate that the red OEM report exceeded the 50% value of FEMA requirements?
We have not received that as a notification from the plan examiner.
Were there any monies issued from insurances after Sandy? I hate to ask those questions, but
That's okay, but honestly, Mr. Pavone, I wouldn't be able to answer that. We're talking about some shady clients here. So I don't know. I don't even want to speculate.
did the town ask for permission to go into the insurance portal? They normally ask for an affidavit so that they could get the values of what insurance monies have been issued on something like this.
On other projects, they have requested that document be provided to them. They have not requested to this point that that document be provided to them.
Which exhibit is that?
It's got the red stamp on it.
Right, but this is the new, that document is the,
That's the approval,
Right.
approved plans.
from when?
What's the date of the approved plans, gentlemen?
21.
The 2003, do you have the 2003 permits?
Permits were issued.
Yes,
Remained as an open permit.
but do you have a copy of those plans?
Those are exhibit 4.
Yes, you should have them.
So Richard, you're looking for the layout of the basement from 2003? It was,
Same.
it's the same, or is it, Mark, was it unfinished? Like you said before when I asked.
2003. This is the 2003.
So we have as exhibit 3 for clarification, I apologize. Exhibit 3 is the submitted amended plans. We can get you the previously approved plans showing the previously approved layout.
Should they have that?
I think you need that. I think you need to submit a copy of the stamped approved plans from 2003.
Damn.
Plan examiner issued to qualify the bathroom and the basement the way it was originally approved, and that would probably help.
All right. We may
Be
have,
able to make a decision.
okay, give me 2 seconds, Mr. Pavone, on that.
Well, you're speaking for yourself, Mr. Pavone. I'm having a hard time at this one.
I don't blame you.
So
What was her name? Lena? Let's see who we got. Oh, no, that's still. Let me just see what I have here, gentlemen, so if I can,
We don't have the current property owner on today's call, do we?
Oh, God, no.
Okay.
I apologize. The current property owner. No, he
The
was.
current one, yeah, because I wanted to ask, would he be amenable to creating unfinished storage space in the basement? And how much of the basement he would be amenable to doing that?
So I could tell you that I'm pretty confident to say he would be, within reason, absolutely.
What's within reason?
He's looking to make this all legal. He does not want to be a problem or anything like that. He just bought a problem.
Well, it's quite a bit of space down there, so, if it was all unfinished storage, I think the flood zone issue, the flood elevation issue goes away, right?
I don't think it would be an issue. Exactly right.
But we did see in those pictures, we did see that there was a basement, I'm sorry, a bedroom in that basement, right? Like that's what that picture showed us?
Correct.
But to Rich's point, Mr. Pavone's point about seeing the old plans, were the mechanical systems proposed at that level?
Yes.
Because that's,
Give me 1 second and I'm
That
gonna
was
try and pull up.
2003, that would be a different issue.
it gets complicated. Because the BFE and the DFE were the same back then, right?
2002 when this code came into being.
Which one? This one? And
The flood elevation requirements were different, but I don't think they were substantially,
But there was no freeboard back then, right?
there was, right.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot, I'm just, yeah.
There was, I'd have to
All right.
research.
Because then it'd be, instead of 10, it'd be 8. Not that it helps.
But still.
this is original approved, gentlemen. So let's go past the elevations. There you go. This
You
is
don't have-
originally approved. This is the 2003 originally approved.
We can't see it.
Am I not sharing anymore?
No, we're just seeing the last photo.
All we see is the photo.
What photo?
You gotta go to your share.
Go ahead. But that's it right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Sharing, oh, photos it's showing. Okay, I see. I gotta go to the other screen. Sorry. Technically. Share. This. Okay, do you see that now?
Yeah, what are you looking at?
This is the approved set. This was approved on May 24, 2004, the 2003 original application. This is the foundation basement plan of what was down there and what was approved. So this is the mechanical area in the top left-hand corner. This is the bathroom that's down there.
Mark, can you zoom in a little bit more, please?
Okay.
Yeah, appreciate it.
This one. Hold on. I get a little closer for you.
Just the fountain, not the roof.
How's that?
We don't need to see the roof. Yeah. Okay, that's better. So that wall was unfinished, except for the bathroom?
What's approved is this wall around the mechanical room and this bathroom.
That makes more sense now.
Why would a bathroom be approved down there if it's all unfinished storage?
Well, I think. they're
Yeah,
right.
that doesn't make sense why a bathroom was approved.
A bathroom is considered non-habitable, right?
Yes.
It's not a,
Yeah,
But it supports,
But they have done that in the past. They have issued bathrooms in basements as long as there's no habitable space.
and there's a sink there that's bubbled.
But it's clouded as an add-on. Was that amended, Mark?
Yes.
And this is an amended permit from the original application that you filed.
Correct.
So the town approved it that way.
Again, this is approved
Okay?
supplemental 2004.
But no CO issue.
No. That's ultimately where we came in on this.
All right, so just to go back to what I asked before about the owner being amenable to unfinished storage, to what limits would that be a reasonable request?
So.
Come
what
down the
they have-
stair.
Is this what they have, right? Yeah. So in your exhibit 3,
Yeah, I don't seem to have that,
I
but
don't either.
I'm gonna open it up, which is ultimately, where would I find that? No, like bing bang. 1 second. Again, state variance.
3 basement construction plans, right, one up from where you are.
Think.
Courtney, do you have numbered exhibits in this package? 'Cause I don't see any exhibits numbered.
Yeah.
So when he's referencing 1, 2, or 3, I don't know, for the record, what he's referencing.
So I'm looking at your screen. Maybe we'll just show a document. That one? No, it's this one.
They do have references 1, 2, and 3, but
So this is what you should have, but we can also get it to you. This has all been removed, all these internal interior walls. So it's now one large open space. This space is unfinished. This space is unfinished,
All right, for the record, you're showing drawing A1.00
correct?
of the 2021 approved plans? Is that,
Yes, you are correct.
okay.
Is there a second means of egress out of?
There is not. There's a lot of windows down there, but not egressable windows. They could make an egressable window down there, though.
I'm thinking that those openings were for allowing flood. Posed as flood openings. Originally,
No,
that's so maybe.
it's the windows.
Mark said they're windows. Let's check the elevations. Yeah, he's showing, looks like they're below grade a little bit, but they're windows.
Yeah, definitely windows.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna go back to my question again, like where, I mean, again, I'm speaking for myself because I got a problem with this.
Sure.
Like what can we unfinish to get this to the point?
So again, we already unfinished this and this so that there's no separate rooms over here. So it's one large room. Anything that I would unfinish would be an exterior wall. But I would think then maybe you'd want to close this off again.
What's this? Can't see your cursor too well.
You can't see it. So let me try and zoom in again a little bit. Where was it? Oh, yeah.
Is that Adobe markup?
Yeah.
When I go in the Zoom close and I just.
Yeah, I figured it out. Yeah, I know it. I understand what he's doing.
It is.
Give me 1 second to try and arrange this so you can see it properly. I apologize.
No, it's okay. It's important.
Yes. All right. Can you see it now? A little better?
Yeah, a little better. Thank you.
This dashed line is what was removed.
And there's some low, very low ceiling heights there. Is that like
Well, this is underneath the duct.
okay.
This is a height of 6'8". This is 6'8". This is a duct. So we just specified the duct work. This is some of the air conditioning stuff that's probably.
5'5" and 4'2".
5'1" right here also, that this is all
Yeah.
trunk lines that come through here.
And you said your client would be okay if all of that's kind of like just open, unfinished storage,
Yes.
even the perimeter walls?
He doesn't really want to rip the walls out. He would that's why we're here. Otherwise we would rip the walls out already. He really doesn't want to rip the walls out. It's
The
not
perimeter walls, the furring.
yes.
Okay.
Where's the bedroom in this?
There's no bedroom.
I was gonna say, hopefully there is no bedroom. I think Mark mentioned that the one with the internal standing closet.
Well, there was a
Was it-
photo that showed a bed before.
There was, yeah, the picture that showed the bedroom with the
That would-
TV
That would have been here.
and that's no longer there?
No, these walls are no longer here. And this was inspected, by the way.
What would it take to make it code compliant?
Was that a question for me?
It's like I'm throwing it out there.
I apologize, I didn't hear it, only because somebody's talking.
I said, what would it take to make this code compliant? You'd have to get the mechanical equipment up to elevation, which is impossible. Or is it impossible? Yeah, it's impossible.
It's virtually, I mean, it's an elevation 6, I gotta go 3 above that, which would be 9, this is at 4, I mean, you figure out the number, it's in the kitchen,
Where's the electric panels? They're in the same place?
right here. Just opposite the boilers. Right here.
And then everything would need to be, correct me if I'm wrong, Courtney, everything would need to be unfinished storage?
If we're gonna comply to today's code, yes, you'd have to drag everything out of that basement. And, you know, raise the boiler to an elevation above the, and just maintain the storage and put in flood vents all around to allow floods to occupy that space.
Mark, you said that the town didn't note or comment on flood elevation for a variance, correct?
Not yet, you are correct,
The Board of Appeals at the town.
you are correct.
It's kind of odd.
This is an odd project, gentlemen.
So what would it take? Do you want to come back with some numbers? And if you're claiming it's economic and say it's really a hardship to remove all this stuff and get code compliance and, you know, try and go that way, I mean, I don't see
The
me,
problem with that is I'm gonna end
Hand
up
up.
with exactly the same I have. I mean, the space isn't gonna change when you say.
no, did you hear Courtney when he said to get code compliance, you would need to put in proper flood vents, and then you need to get the mechanical equipment up to elevation, potentially electric panel up to elevation, and need to have unfinished storage.
So are you
And
talking,
that's a big deal, right?
it is a big deal, and you're talking
then
cost, am I
How big
correct?
a deal is that? How much? Do we know?
Say probably in the 30, well, I mean, there's a lot to it, so I'd have to really go through it. There's a lot to it, $30,000-$40,000 range.
The photos I saw of the boiler room, it looked, it's, you know,
Yeah, but
pretty
relocating-
complex.
Those boilers would need to be relocated, moved in their entirety. Same thing with the electric. Which claims really the fact of the same thing with all the ductwork, same. And then
All right, I haven't been shy about my position on this, so I don't know if the other board members want to weigh in. Is it something that we want to go and try and talk it out and vote on? Or do we tell them to come back with more information on options or
I don't
mitigation?
even, I mean, the photos he showed isn't what is currently down there, right? So do we even know what it looks like?
this is currently what's there. And
But
this
you
has been
said that there was
approved.
no bedroom, but you showed a picture of a bedroom.
That
So,
was previous to any of the work going on. So that's what this space was. This permit has been approved and inspected by the town. This has been approved and inspected.
So can, go ahead.
Can we get back to seeing each other?
Yeah, Mark, see if we can get your face back up on the screen so we can talk to you, not the drawing.
Sure can, I think.
Thank you.
I think it's
I
stopped,
think
yeah.
I think he needs to provide more information because he's right that there's a complexity here, but the town already issued a permit in 2003 with the bathroom and with the HVAC or the boiler room where it is today. So the question is the plan examiner going to note a flood elevation variance besides just the area variances that he's going for? I would like clarification on that. That may help
Do we have
be able to clarify whether or not that he can bring and restore the basement back to what it was originally approved at.
But that's irrespective of what this body does, right? Unless you want to take that into consideration that the BZA had a decision on it.
No, I'm not worried about what the BZA is going to do. I'm more concerned about what was originally approved in 2003. Does that stand the test of time of being approved?
But
And
it could have
therefore,
been-
if he reverts back to that, he still has a bathroom, still has the mechanical equipment in the basement that can, at this point in time, because the certificate of occupancy was not issued for the dwelling, can we then rule on something because the CO is being issued 2020?
We can identify that it was done in error.
Yeah, no.
And vote on it.
COs are sometimes issued in error. So, the board would have to find out whether they are willing to put their seal on something that was issued in error as well.
Yeah, do we want to perpetuate a potential mistake or?
No, I agree, but I know if he goes to the Board of Appeals, the potential of that question being asked by one of the zoning board members, what did this board do for this board to, in my opinion only, to stand the test of time of a decision? I think we need more information. I think we're lacking some information.
So you're recommending, Mr. Bavone, that they go before the board for
No.
approvals first? I mean, the town board?
I'm recommending that he gets clarification from the plan examiner as to exactly what he's going to file with the Board of Appeals, other than an area variance. Is there any other variances that are going to be required?
So if I could chime in, Mr. Bavone.
Yes.
And we know you've done a little bit of filing at the town of Hempstead once or
Just-
twice. So you probably
Right.
dealt with Paul Montemorano, who loves to write long-winded. Anyway, long story short is the last objection we got to him was solely, please provide a copy of New York State code variance for projections less than 6 foot 4 inches clear height. So we have not received, and typically he would have put that on the same objection.
But now you have in your plan that you sent, it's Vinnie Albert as the plan examiner. Which plan examiner is actually doing this?
Right, Vinnie Albert approved the finished basement. Right, then
Back in
Paul reviewed-
2003?
Say that again?
Back in 2003? I don't think he was there.
I think Paul Albert was not even born, Mr. Albert wasn't, he wasn't born yet in 2003. But no, that was in 21 when he approved the basement. And then Paul got the supplemental. So it literally states that on the Paul Montemorano commented on supplemental plan.
So one more, just bear with me because I apologize.
Sure.
Basement bathroom as an amendment, was that amendment in 2021? Or was that in 2004 or 5, somewhere when you originally designed the dwelling?
Right, it was a supplement in 04, which was approved, still had the basement. But then there was a subtle change. So when we did a verification, we wanted to verify that the bathroom actually did change subtly in dimension. So that would be in 21, right? And then 21 was approved.
21 is
Oh, which one is it?
21 is what we're going for.
Right, the 21, I apologize, is the one we're going for now,
So what do we want to do?
amending the amendment.
So I think you need more information.
You want more information from the town?
Yes.
Elaine, Erica, what's your position on this? Do we feel we need more information or do we decide and vote on it or? we continue to talk it out to see if we can get this thing as close as compliance as possible, or,
Okay, I think we need more information because we get very confused in this moment. I would like the architect to reclassify all the submissions to the town and approval from the plan examiner and go back to us.
So resubmit everything to you. No, not after town variance. You're saying resubmit you in a separate pack? How do you want that resubmitted?
Mr. Pavone wants to get more information from the town, as he articulated clearly on his questions. I want some costs on what it would take to get this thing to somewhat close to code compliance. I do think maybe if we do adjourn, bring your client back so we can have a comfort conversation, unless you don't want him to come back.
Oh, he can come back.
Yeah, have him come back so, we can hear from him, put it on the record on, the compromises that will be potentially made. So that's 3: cost, town submission paperwork, client. Is there anything else?
Can we
Mark the
get
OEM
updated-
report? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
It's
Yeah,
okay. Can we get updated photos? Please,
Sure can.
thank you.
Updated photos and a copy of this OEM.
OEM report
Yeah.
and see if the town has any information in the file in reference to previous insurances and the value of the actual restoration, meaning how much damage was there after Sandy.
Okay. I have a certain suspicion that there probably wasn't insurance on this because this was an all cash job at the time. So that previous client that we're talking about, and trust me when I tell you, I'm making an assumption. So there was no insurance ever involved in this, but we still get whatever report from the town if there's anything there.
Okay,
Okay, so if you got all those items, can I get a motion to adjourn?
make the motion.
Pending, I move.
Richard, make the motion, second.
Pending second.
Mr. Palin, second. All in favor to adjourn the next month?
Aye.
Aye. Hi, Mark. I think you got your marching orders there and,
Right. Thanks. No problem. We'll take care of it. I do appreciate your time. I know this is kind of a wacky one. I know.
yeah. All right, just communicate with Courtney and, we'll get you on the calendar as soon as possible once you get that stuff together.
Thank you, guys. I hope you all
All
have a
right,
good
thank you.
enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll go back to.
Yeah, let's go back.
We go to the deliberation room?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
just for a brief.
Thank you.
Before you go back to the briefing room, is there any more for
Yeah,
the record?
someone's saying something. Hold on. Let's see what-
Mr. Hubbard,
Yes, is there any more for the record?
you can. I'm sorry, I didn't identify you. And you are?
Howard Hubbard, I'm the court reporter.
Hi, Howard.
I'm from Associated Reporters. I'm just wondering if that's the end of the record.
That's